A few words about the book Art of Dying, written by Dr. Peter Fenwick. I'm not obsessed by that. No, I think that the death should be in our daily focus. Let me hear how Dr. Fenwick had become interested in near-death experiences.
And that was then in about 1980-81. A patient came into my consulting room who had had a near-death experience. And so I had to start taking them seriously then. So I became interested in them and did some research into it.
And how that experience influenced him?
It's very difficult not to be influenced by the enormously compelling stories that people tell. And what they say, of course, is that they've stood in the light, which is always equated with love and compassion. And it's a very spiritual experience for them. And so it's not possible for this not to rub off on you. In fact, yes, I think certainly it's made me, if anything, much more spiritual by nature.
Science brings pretty sad perspectives for soul. The explanation is that consciousness is mere brain function, and it ceases to exist with that. But
if your heart has stopped and your brain is not functioning and can't produce consciousness, but yet the person can leave their body and look down from the ceiling at their body and then go down through the tunnel and so on, this suggests that consciousness and mind are different from just brain function.
Something is there.
It's a wonderful idea, that, isn't it? That we contain a spiritual core which will go on. The evidence for it that I've come across is the fact that the dying feel that they're going on a journey. Many of them have experience of that, and we've got a very large sample now, up to 1,000 people. And even if you don't believe in life after death, we've got accounts where the relatives of the dying say, at the last moment, she turned to us and said, yeah, there's something there. So it raises that question. And in the near-death experience, of course, those who have had it are firmly convinced that this was, in fact, a spiritual transition of some sort.
As I said in another video, everything you believe in seems to be true. So skeptics will probably remain skeptics, and that's okay.
What the point of view that the skeptics are coming from is that experiences are not part of science. In fact, science is just mechanistic processes, so brain processes. So if you take that view, then of course you have to explain the near-death experience in just the mechanical processes of the brain. Now, quite clearly the mechanical processes of the brain are involved, but I suspect that the experience itself is much wider than that. But if you only believe in mechanical processes, then yes, let's see how far we can get with it.
Consequences of near-death experience are usually significant personal change.
Because what I'm dealing with is people as they come up to death and what they say, and people who talk about the near-death experience. If you take literally what people say, then in the period when they go to another reality before death, they see themselves as a spiritual being, and they see themselves as quite different from when they're back in the hospice again.
So I'll repeat in this video as well. Many things are important, but understanding life and consciousness should be the most important goal.